Hi, these comments are for SK. This is Michael. So I'm getting ready to read your writing practice test you sent me. You're one of my TOEFL Writing Bootcamp course students. You purchased my course over at onlinetoeflcourse.com. After a few days, you sent me your first independent writing practice test. I looked at the rubrics here to kind of figure out what your score might be. And this is actually what you wrote here. Let's look at what you wrote in the email. Hi, I'm one of your TOEFL Writing Bootcamp students. Please error correct my independent writing practice test. So do you agree or disagree with the following statement? At universities and colleges, sports and social activities are just as important as classes and libraries and should receive equal financial support. Use specific reasons and examples to support your answer and show me what I need to do in order to score 30 out of 30 on this writing task. Thanks. All right, so first of all, what is your score? So before I give you the score, I'm thinking after I read it the first time, 22 to 24 points out of 30 according to the rubrics that the TOEFL uses. Right here. So I'm thinking you're probably a high 3. Why is that? I think may demonstrate inconsistent facility and sentence formation that may result in lack of clarity and occasionally obscure meaning, may display accurate but limited range of syntactic structures and vocabulary. I think you could have developed your first paragraph more also. Where is it? Right here. Here we go. So this is your first paragraph here, right? So that is roughly 46 words. I would try to get that closer to 100. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. Now, the other thing is, I want to get an idea, what do computers think of your writing? What do you think artificial intelligence thinks of your writing? I do this because TOEFL has eRater, its own artificial scoring engine for writing. And of course, thankfully, it also has a human rater who's going to look at your writing also. So first of all, I'm going to do a quick review here using Microsoft Word. So you have an 82% editor score. That means you have errors. You have 1 spelling error. You have 7 grammar errors in there. But there's more than that, I think. I've been looking through it. Now, the most important thing is document stats. What is your vocabulary level and what is your grammar level? So let me take a look at what we have here. Words per sentence is 29.7. That's good. You have characters per word is 4.8. You should probably try to get this number closer to 5, but there's nothing wrong with the sentence length between 25 and 30, though I think some of it might be problems with what I call you're putting commas in there maybe where you shouldn't. So, but still, your grade level here is 14.9. So I think eRater will probably like your essay. The human rater, me, I actually see quite a few errors in your writing. And that's you got at least 7, right? Probably more than that. Okay, so let's start off. You say, when it comes to education and raising children, some people think that sports and social activities should receive equal financial support because they are as crucial as academic classes and libraries, whereas others hold the exact opposite opinion. I strongly give my vote to the former group. So I think you need a little bit better thesis here. So I'm going to show you what I would do with what you wrote. This is what I would use for your introduction and your thesis. So I took what you wrote and I'm going to expand a little bit on it. Watch this. You see what you wrote? So I went all the way to 110 words, right? So you want to get 30 out of 30, right? You want to really show that you can raise the topic, you can narrow that down a bit to a main point connected to the writing topic, and then even you funnel it even more to get to your thesis. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Many children complete their high school studies and then decide to attend a university, and their parents hope that these young adults can get the most beneficial collegiate experience. Then I'm starting with what you said. Therefore, when it comes to education and raising these children, some people think that sports and social activities should receive equal financial support because they are as crucial as academic classes and libraries, whereas others hold the exact opposite opinion. Now, this is your thesis. This is weak. It's very weak. The thesis that I'm using, the way that I wrote it is I looked at your two body paragraphs here, and I saw that one of them talks about relieving stress, the other talks about developing teamwork and problem solving skills, right? So I took those two key points. Look what I did. I incorporated them here. Allocating similar revenue streams to sports and social activities will help to relieve stress and will foster important teamwork and problem-solving skills, both of which will help students not only to succeed academically, but to live successful, productive lives after graduation. So that would be my first change, is I would definitely lengthen this introduction, and I would include a more specific thesis there. Let's take a look at your second paragraph. You have one obvious reasons why extracurricular activities should. So I think this is too wordy. I think you can develop the detail more, but you're wasting too many words in the beginning here. So watch this. I'm going to just say extracurricular activities should receive equal, I'm going to put, you can put funds or funding, should receive equal funding, put so that students can relieve their stress and vent their frustrations. And I'm going to put frustrations here plural. So I made this just a little bit more concise. In other words, when students participate in sports and social activities, they can balance the pressure that they had from their heavy homework and assignments. For instance, so you have the basketball team and the music club. You probably don't have enough time to discuss both of those as a detail, right? And then you put which was funded, not just funded. So go to Google. You need to review this. What put active versus passive voice, or how to use passive voice in English grammar. You want to study that a little bit more. How about so my team and I ran 5 kilometers daily, spent, let's say, 90 minutes lifting weights about 3 times a week. right? So I'm just going to develop this idea a bit more. And then when you get to this activity was a great, you didn't really explain much about the activity. You simply just made some assertions about it. But once you provide some detail about what you did when you practiced basketball, then it makes more sense why you could relax and unwind the stress. So during the preseason, my team and I ran 5 kilometers daily, spent 90 minutes lifting weights 3 times a week, and practiced shooting baskets on the court daily for more than 2 hours. During the season, our coach added to those activities scrimmage games to get ready for the 25 home and away games that we played that season. And that's good. So we'll just say this activity. You see, I got rid of the music thing because once you bring it up, you got to talk about it in a lot of detail, and you don't have that kind of time, right? How about this activity helped me to relax and unwind all the stress that I'm going to put all the stress that I had gotten. So I think here, I'm going to use the past perfect tense because you have two different things here. So the activity that you did, it helped you to unwind from things that you did before that activity. So the past perfect is typically used when you have the first past action occurring before another past action. So if you're not sure about this, go to Google, review the simple past versus the past perfect verb tenses in English grammar, and you can study those more. So this activity helped me to relax and unwind all the stress that I had gotten from the academic subjects. As a result, the next day, after my practices and games, I was able to attend all my classes with full energy and full brain power. I'm going to connect this, which is why. Watch this. You have how important it is for universities to have equal support. That's actually a fragment. Excuse me. It's a fragment because it's a dependent clause. It cannot stand on its own. Which is why universities should provide equal support for such activities. So I think we have it. So the difference is I just took a little bit more time to support. I joined the basketball team, which was funded by the university, and I went and I filled in all this information here. And this, now once you make the assertion here, it helped me to relax. What activity? Well, guess what? I just spent 58 words explaining that activity. You see, so the paragraph has a little bit more depth. And let's see what we got. It should be around 150. Yeah, that's 180 words. So I expanded the paragraph a little bit by taking one of your examples and explaining it in more depth. So I think that's going to help you. Again, another clear reason why a little bit too wordy universities should also provide equal support to the social and sports activities so that students can improve their essential skills such as teamwork. And there's no teamworking here. You don't need that. I would just say teamwork and problem. I'm going to use a hyphen, kind of put those two words together there, and problem solving skills. How about we have to change this a little bit. You have these skills among, there's no verb in there, right? So two of which are among the most sought after skills that every employer is looking for. I got it. You see what I'm doing? I'm cleaning up your sentences so that you have it gets rid of a lot of the grammatical words and you focus more on the content. And then when we get to your example about Sarah, maybe we can develop that a little bit more, right? Because you are, yeah, 133 words right now. You see what I did with the other paragraph? Let's look at it one more time now. If you want to understand this grammar, go to Google and type in the keywords using adjective clauses and expressions of quantity in English grammar, like two of which, two of whom. Notice how which refers to both teamwork and problem solving skills. Now, if I mention people here, students, I would say two of whom, not which. For example, my sister Sarah. Okay, now you're having some sentence structure issues. My sister Sarah, so that's the subject. When she was at the University of Khartoum, right? So because we said Sarah, we cannot use the word she. So go to Google if you want to learn more about this. Unnecessary repetition of the subject in a complex sentence. Enrolled in a theater club to learn to make contact with other people easily. This is where your sentence structure really begins breaking down. Yeah, I'm thinking you probably will not get 24. I'm going to stay around 22 on this because of this. You see all the changes I'm making here? So for example, my sister Sarah, when she was at the University of Khartoum, enrolled in, I'll add that grammatical word in there, that determiner, enrolled in a theater club to learn to make contact with other people easily. We have to end the sentence there. And then you say he. Who is he? I don't get it. You mean she, right? Besides learning, or how about besides improving her Yeah, but the problem is we need to, the examples need to illustrate the teamwork thing, right? After she graduated, she accepted as a, yeah, I don't think the example here, it really clearly illustrates the idea of teamwork and problem solving. So I think we got some trouble here. We need to do something a little bit better there. No, I had to make some pretty radical changes to this paragraph. Notice this is what you wrote about your sister Sarah, and because you use two things here, you use teamwork and problem solving skills. I expanded your examples so it would illustrate both of those ideas. What does that look like? Here it is. Look at the difference here. And notice, I mean, we've gone now. This is a little overboard, I'll admit. This is going to get you way higher than, this is probably close to almost 200 words here, maybe 180, 190. Universities should also provide equal support to the social and sports activities so that students can improve their essential skills such as teamwork and problem solving. And we probably don't need to repeat that word skills again, right? Okay, give me a quick. All right, let's go ahead and omit this. Actually, this one here. So they're essential skills such as teamwork and problem solving, two of which are among the most sought after. How about skill sets that every employer is looking for? If you want to make it more formal, you could say this, for which every employer is looking. How about that? But watch what I've done now. Now, if you don't like how long it is, then you don't talk about teamwork and problem solving. You only talk about one of them, because that's 225 words, right? You could cut it down by 50 words easily. But you did mention both of these ideas here, so when I took your example, Sarah, I developed it more so it would illustrate both of those ideas. For example, my sister Sarah, when she was at the University of Khartoum, enrolled in a theater club to learn to work with others in a team setting toward a common goal. This is what you didn't say. Shortly after joining this club, Sarah worked with 7 other teammates to create the set for the, how about this, for the first theater production of Othello for fall semester 2018. She and her teammates drew out, created materials, and eventually constructed 3 different scenes that will be used during the play. In addition to learning teamwork, Sarah and her teammates also learned problem-solving skills, especially when they had to build a giant castle that would be used during the play. She and her crew members first had to figure out what type of material would be used for the castle's production, and they also had to decide on what type of paint they would use so that the prop would look as authentic as possible. Consequently, after graduating, my sister was accepted as a medical representative in one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in her country because of the skills she had, how about, acquired in the theater club. You see the difference there from what you wrote? I have a lot more concrete detail in there, and the example that I expanded on, it does a better job developing these 2 points. You didn't really do that. So I'm going to go back and say it might not even get 24 because of that. You need to make sure you have paragraph unity with your ideas. And make sure that in the beginning, don't do something that you cannot handle. If you make 2 different points, teamwork and problem solving, but you don't believe you can clearly illustrate both of those points, get rid of one of them. Maybe just talk about teamwork or only talk about problem solving, right? So that way you can really focus the idea here, but look at this. This example here is, let me look at it. It's 154 words, just the example. That's depth. That's a lot of depth to do it like that. And that's going to make a huge difference when it comes to getting over 24. You told me you wanted to get 30. That's what you said. You said, Michael, show me how to get 30 out of 30 on this practice test. And that's exactly what I am doing here. Now we have the conclusion. The only thing that bugs me is it's not good to have paragraphs. One is clearly more developed than the other. But this one is easier because you only have 1 point, stress and vent frustrations. Basically, you have one idea here, but this paragraph, you tried to do 2 different things, so it ended up being a much longer paragraph there. So to sum up, let's look at your conclusion. I firmly believe that sports and social activities should get an equal amount of money. We don't have to say this is evident. Get rid of all that. You have a lot of wordy things here, not only because it can help learners to improve their health by decreasing pressure, but also because these participants, I think, because these participants will learn teamwork and critical thinking skills. Thus, how about thereby preparing them for a bright future, something like that. Okay, so I think we got it. Okay, let's look at the whole thing now. So if we look at the changes here, I mean, you can see it. We got 568 words, and remember that we can probably get maybe 80 words out of here if we get rid of the problem-solving idea, right? Certainly we can do that. Okay, let's read the whole thing, and then I want to show you some lessons I think are going to be really helpful for you, right? Many teenagers complete their high school studies and then decide to attend a university, and their parents hope that these young adults can get the most beneficial collegiate experience possible. Therefore, when it comes to education and raising these children, some people think that sports and social activities should receive equal financial support because they are as crucial as academic classes and libraries, whereas others hold the exact opposite opinion. Allocating similar revenue streams to sports and social activities will help to relieve stress and will foster important teamwork and problem-solving skills, both of which will help students not only to succeed academically, but to live successful, productive lives after graduation. Right? There's our intro. Extracurricular activities should receive equal funding so that students can relieve their stress and vent their frustrations. In other words, when students participate in sports and social activities, they can balance the pressure that they had from their heavy homework and assignments. For instance, when I was a college student at the University of Cairo, I joined the basketball team, which was funded by the university. Or how about this? I joined the university-funded basketball team, and that way there's now no need for this. During the preseason, my team and I ran 5 kilometers daily, spent 90 minutes lifting weights 3 times a week, and practiced shooting baskets on the court daily for more than 2 years. During the season, I'm going to throw a comma right here. That introductory prepositional phrase kind of precedes the subject. So during the season, our coach began giving us scrimmage games to get ready for the 25 home and away games that we played that season. This activity helped me to relax and unwind all the stress that I'd gotten from the academic subjects. As a result, the next day after practices and games, I was able to attend all my classes with full energy and full brain power, which is why universities should provide equal support for such activities. Universities should also provide equal support to the social and sports activities so that students can improve their essential skills such as teamwork and problem solving, two of which are among the most sought after skill sets for which every employer is looking. For example, my sister Sarah, when she was at the University of Khartoum, enrolled in a theater club to learn to work with others in a team setting toward a common goal. Shortly after joining this club, Sarah worked with 7 other teammates to create the set for the first theater production of Othello for fall semester 2018. She and her teammates drew out, created the materials, and eventually constructed 3 different scenes that would be used during the play. And then we have, in addition to learning teamwork, notice that transition. I'm using this transitional phrase to connect to what I've already said and to introduce the next idea, which is problem solving. Sarah and her teammates also learned problem solving skills, especially when they had to build a giant castle that would be used during the play. She and her crew members first had to figure out what type of material would be used for the castle's production, and then they also had to decide on what type of paint they would use so that the prop would look as authentic as possible. Consequently, after graduating, my sister was accepted as a medical representative in one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in our country because of the skills she had acquired in the theater club. To sum up, I firmly believe that sports and social activities should get an equal amount of money, not only because it can help learners to improve their health by decreasing pressure, but also because these participants will learn teamwork and critical thinking skills, thereby preparing them for a bright future. Now let's go back to the actual rubrics here, and let's see why I put you in the 3 area so you can understand. I'm going to say 22 points here. The more I look at it, the more problems I find, right? So I think that in the body paragraphs, you could have developed the Sarah idea a little bit better, especially when you talked about the theater thing. You could have taken more time to do that. And when you talked about the basketball idea, I actually eliminated the other one, the music thing, and just focused on the basketball, and I spent time developing that more. So I think that's one of your problems. The other one displays unity, progression, coherence, though connection of ideas may occasionally obscure it. So I gave you a better thesis so you would not have this problem, right? Inconsistent facility and sentence formation and word choice, yes. I think that's a problem. You're not that limited in your syntactic structures and vocabulary, though. So I think I'm thinking you would score 3 because of these 3 problems here, right? Now, over at my Better TOEFL Scores blog, I have some lessons. Here's one: TOEFL example intro. I want you to type in the keywords there to find that one. This one. This is one lesson I want you to take a look at. So it'll give you some general tips on how to write an introduction, right? It'll go through it step by step. So that's the first one. Number 2, concrete versus abstract. This is a great practice lesson for you. You won't see it anywhere else on the internet. Concrete versus abstract. I have very unique practice lessons, and it's free over at my website here, Concrete versus Abstract Details. Let's see if I can find that lesson using those keywords. Remember that I wrote all this stuff. Um, I guess maybe that's not it. How about TOEFL writing details? Maybe that's it. I got it. Let's look at this one for a minute. Okay, so I think you should go through this lesson, and particularly it talks about exemplification, talks about writing details. Here it is. Talks about concrete versus abstract details. And then it has practice. Check this out. So I'm going to give you a sentence here, and then it says write a 100-word concrete detail 1 to defend this assertion. So you're going to write the 100 words, right? And then compare it to the example that I wrote. You can kind of see what you're trying to do. I think this would be really, really good practice for you right now if you want to get 30 out of 30 on the TOEFL exam, right? Okay, so I think that's good. What else do we need to bring up here? Maybe that's good enough there. I don't want to give you too many different things. Maybe. Okay, one other thing. So let's take a look at the editor here. So we got a 97% score here, according to Microsoft. Let's take a look at the, okay, so you were at 14. So we have right around 5.0 letters per word, and then we have an average of 32 words per sentence, right? So the grade level here is 16. That's fine. But remember that to get 30, you have to be above and beyond anything these human raters have seen, and then it has to really get the attention of E-rater by some of these stats. So your score on the essay that you wrote is maybe 22 points out of 30, and then with my revisions, I think you will for sure get 30 points out of 30 by following this example and these strategies here. You see what we're saying? Okay, now I got one more thing before I forget. I'm always forgetting everything. Okay, what is it? One more thing. Okay, here. Type in the keywords TOEFL thesis statements. Yeah, I think that's a good one for you too. Yeah, this is a good one. So you're going to click on this and then get some strategies here. Learn how to write a thesis statement that does not drive me crazy. You can see some general tips here. I'll give you different kinds of thesis statement prompts, and you can see some examples on how to write that thesis statement here. You'll see different ways of doing it, right? So I think that's good. Now to conclude, before I say too much here, how about, let me go over to my, okay, I'm going into my course right now. Okay, what lessons in my online course should you study to improve? So your vocabulary is fine. I don't have any trouble with that. I'm not going to worry about that. You're very, very high level. So pronunciation, that's irrelevant. Okay, let's go to grammar for a minute. Anything after reading your paper, I want to see what kind of stands out here. Okay, so it says here diagnostic test. I think lesson 4, get used to using appositives more. So study grammar lesson 4. Maybe lesson 6, sentences with adjective clauses. Lesson 9, sentences with multiple clauses, I think is good. Maybe lesson 17.2, simple past, past perfect, simple present, present perfect verb tenses. That's probably a good one. Is there anything else here? Passive voice, lesson 19. And you can also go on the internet to study these in more detail. Lesson 25, comma splices, run-on sentences, and fragments. Lesson 27, definitely, being more concise. Lesson 28, when to use commas. I think that's a good lesson. Okay, let's go into the writing area. I think I've given you everything that you need to do for writing. And what I'm recommending here is specifically based on the essay I'm looking at right now and nothing else. I'm just looking at what you wrote, how you wrote it, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then what you can do, what lessons can you review to improve. I think lesson 1 here, TOEFL independent writing strategies, probably a good one. Okay, I think that's it. So let me go back to the essay. So in conclusion, you now have some ideas. You have some strategies here. So you should practice these web pages I've recommended and these lessons I've recommended to improve your writing. And as a TOEFL Writing Bootcamp course student, you can send me one more essay for error correction, for video correction. If you feel really confident with your integrated writing, that's fine. You can send me another independent writing practice test to see if you've mastered the skills I'm trying to teach you here, or you can simply just send me a integrated writing practice test. And if you do integrated writing, go to my stealth.michaelbuckoff.com and pick one of the first 10 writing integrated practice tests there and choose one of those. I'm very familiar with those first 10. And then you can do that and then send it to me, and I'll do the same thing I did here, is I'll show you how to get 30 out of 30 on that writing, assuming that yours does not get that high score. All right? And thank you for submitting your practice test. I hope this gives you some good ideas on what you need to do to improve your writing.